Hi there, I'm Gugulethu Mfuphi, the host of our primetime business show, Kaya Biz, here on Kaya 959, which broadcasts every Monday to Thursday between 6 to 8 p.m. Now, in South Africa, we're wrapping up the month of August, which we all know is well regarded and celebrated as Women's Month, as we recently commemorated Women's Day on the 9th of August. This is when we reflected on more than 45 years ago, where thousands of women took to the streets to march to Pretoria to really fight for equitable rights for women, not to carry passes around in society. But as we reflect on the journey that women have embarked on over the last 45 years, just how much progress have we made? Well, truth be told, quite a bit. If we take a look at things from the political front, many South African women, like many previously disadvantaged black people, now have equitable rights in terms of politics and policies that enable our participation within the country. Not only in terms of voting, but being able to move and walk around freely, even though that does come with a lot of questions as to just how flexible we are in light of the ongoing plight of gender-based violence. But apart from that, what has this meant for our economy and the economics of women participating within the South African economy? Well, there again too, we've been able to make certain progress. More women being appointed to key roles and key sectors of society, ensuring that we too can be economically active and key economic participants. But it has been documented that very few women are represented at the high levels of business. Specifically, when it comes to some of the listed entities that we have on our Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Until recently, it's been noted that only 0.3% of the top executives of the top 40 JSE listed companies are women. This again raises a lot of questions about the disparities, the lack of gender parity that we're witnessing within corporate South Africa, that after a certain level of accomplishment, very few women are able to find themselves not only sitting at key executive positions, but also not necessarily being represented at board level, where these are the gatekeepers to unpack and understand what it is that shareholders want and how that translates to how executives exercise their roles and duties. Now, I say this, but the truth is we also need to reflect on what this pandemic has done to us. The last 15 months have certainly recorded ongoing lockdowns, specifically here in the South African environment. And according to UN, a global institution that takes a look at not only human rights, but the understanding of the disparity of various countries and genders, it highlights how women have been left at the periphery of economic participation because of the pandemic. More and more women have been left behind to participate economically, not only on the back of this particular illness that has hit many societies across the globe, but because of the subsequent lockdowns that also impact their livelihood. And if you take a minute just to sit back, reflect on this, and think about the sectors and spaces where women are employed, hospitality, the beauty and entertainment environment. If you also take a look at agriculture, the informal sector of our economy, these are all spaces that have been hard hit by the lockdown. Tourism and hospitality, for one, is known to be a significant contributor to the employment of women in South Africa. Upwards of 70% of the people employed in that space are women. And these are the spaces that have been heavily impacted by the pandemic, limiting the amount of economic participation that women are able to engage in. So what does this mean? Well, one thing's for sure is that it's a global dynamic. If the UN and institutions like McKinsey are highlighting the plight and the pressure that women are under, even evaluating the fact that there will be at least 118 women between the ages of 25 and 34 living in extreme poverty for every 100 men in the same age group, this shows us the disparity. And this also raises ongoing concerns about the effect that it has on the rest of society. It's previously been noted that when you invest in a woman, you also empower not only her family, but society too. And that's because many women are known to pay their investments forward, not only by taking themselves to school and investing in their own personal development, but ensuring that their children, their partners, their loved ones around them, and even community members also get a sense of being prioritized and being ensured that they're trained and upskilled to be economically active. So this raises a number of concerns that we face not only globally, but in South Africa as well. Going forward in this new normal, as we continue to participate with the vaccination rollout, how do we make sure that we're able to rebuild global and locally competitive economies and still making sure that women are kept at the center of development. These are just a few of the policies that we need to be mindful of, and a few recommendations have been made by the UN. Number one, specifically making sure that you direct your income to a woman-owned and woman-managed business. Being deliberate about understanding where your money is going to, who owns that company, and if it is a woman, making sure that you understand and evaluate the number of women who will be empowered within that value chain. Not only supporting women-owned businesses financially, but also offering them necessary tax breaks where necessary. This is meant to offer them the incentive and the benefit to keep operating, to keep going, without the pressure of having onerous taxes that they need to pay, even though they've been through a period of extreme difficulty. It's also been said that we need to support women workers. Think about the pandemic and perhaps that new mother who's just given birth, had a child, been on maternity leave, and now has to balance working from home with a newborn baby and still deliver on your work objectives and outcomes. These are the areas that have been highlighted that we need to focus on to make sure that women within the spaces of their employment are supported, encouraged, and of course, offered the opportunity to continue to advance and grow in their careers where possible. Within workspaces, making sure that mothers or heavily pregnant women also have the opportunity to care for their children, given the dynamics that this pandemic has brought onto our lives, where schools might be open, schools might be closed, and offering them additional support just to ensure that their own personal lives are also prioritized. And most importantly, another element that has been highlighted that we certainly need to focus on is ensuring that we reach equal recognition of effort and pay between the two genders. It's often been highlighted that in various forms of employment, men would often earn at least 20% higher in terms of their income versus their female counterparts, who deliver the exact same amount of work, even sometimes going above and beyond some of their expectations. This again is something that we all need to play a voice in by being more open and vocal with our HR directors and employers about our expectations of salaries, and even sitting opposite the table as men and women and being clear about what it is that we earn for the kind of responsibilities that we take on. So bold moves certainly need to be encouraged, but the one thing is quite certain. We can't leave anyone behind as we regrow the economy, men or women. But in this particular case, we need to empower our women more by ensuring that we bring gender parity to the fore, ensuring that payment parity is also something that's reached, and that women are offered the exact same opportunities to develop and advance in their careers without restricting them from pursuing their own personal growth and personal dynamics of wanting to be wives and mothers and sisters to the members of their community. This is certainly where we'll be able to derive a positive outcome, not only for ourselves in our individual capacity, but also for our society at large.